Hey guys, welcome back to yet another episode of Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day and above all else, that you're looking after yourselves and one another. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the 10th day of 12 Albums of Christmas. I want to welcome back to the channel, Mr. Peter Cottontail, Peter freaking Cottontail, otherwise known as Ken Cheshire. How's it going, Ken?
Going well. Thanks for having me.
I'm just waiting for that cigar to light up. Just spontaneously light up and just explode. I'm just. And down below me on the screen, we have Mr. Santa Claus, otherwise known as Jim Bricker. How's it going, Jim?
Doing fine. Ho, ho, ho.
I am not. You can't prove that I am. Never mind. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we are back with the 10th day of 12 albums of Christmas. Now, each of us have put together a list, sorry, of Christmas themed albums that we have special meaning for us or memories, or we just like the music on these albums and we want to share them with you. We're going to try and have fun with these episodes, with it being the Christmas season. So please, you know, stay tuned and hopefully you'll find something on this list that you'll want to investigate. All right. So, as I look on my list here or on my screen, it's been one of those days, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to go with Mr. Jim Bricker to go first, or Santa Claus.
Yep. All right. So, yes, this is our 12 days of Christmas. This is our 10th day of Christmas, and this is our third choice. So, lots of numbers flowing around here. Hope we can keep it straight. I am going for an album from 2006, last our last day, whenever that was. I picked kind of a moody, kind of Americana, folksy sort of guitar solo album. And this one is kind of keeping in the Americana tradition, but it's got some pretty good jazz and blues inflections in there. This is from a band out of Ohio called Over the Rhine, and this is their album called Snow Angels. Um, at this point in their career, Over the Rhine has released the three Christmas albums. This is their second. If you're not familiar with the band Over the Rhine, first of all, shame on you. Now's the perfect time to get familiar with them. They are a husband-wife duo, and they're Over the Rhine started as sort of like a early '90s alt rock, new wave-ish kind of band, but settled pretty quickly into the Americana vein. And as I said, this album has a lot of piano jazz, and blues inflections on it. In fact, there's one tune on here that's called Goodbye Charles, which is an ode to Charles M. Schulz in the style of Vince Guaraldi. But really, the thing that makes this album work is the vocals of the wife, Karen Berquist, who is a vocalist unlike any that I've really heard. It's hard to sort of draw a comparison to her. I've heard people describe her in a similar vein as Billie Holiday, and I kind of went, "Wow, that's a stretch," but it's not too far off base because she has a deeply interpretive style that is really all her own. Um, Sometimes she's coming off like a torch singer. Sometimes it's like a deep blues chanteuse, and sometimes it's just like straight like singing from the American Songbook. Um, this album, as I said, is jazzy, bluesy. Uh, there's and most of these are originals. There's like two, I'll call them reinterpretations on there. Um, Little Town of Bethlehem is completely rearranged. Um, there's a version of Jingle Bells on here that basically sounds like an inebriated jazz trio trying to work their way through Jingle Bells, and it's called a One Olive Jingle. Um, but really, this whole album is just some really deep, deep, wonderful playing. very gospel-y in places. The song Snow Angel is this beautiful kind of gospel lullaby, kind of like a Christmas version of In My Time of Dying by a jazz trio. Um,
Jeez.
the one of the last songs on here is kind of a guitar hymn. North Pole Man is very much a bluesy send up of kind of the Santa innuendo of Christmas, as you've heard in some of their songs out there. Um, Christmas is Coming is, it's got sleigh bells on it. It's like the perfect archetypal Christmas song. It's just so wonderfully done. But for me, the absolute triumph of this album is an original called White Horse. Um, the refrain of the song is "Bring me a white horse for Christmas," and it's this um, the harmonies in here are just to die for. It's just such a rich, luscious song. It got a very folk, jazz, gospel feel to it. This is an outstanding record, and I bought it knowing it was coming out, not having heard a note, and just instantly fell in love with it. And it's been, going on 20 years now, and this has just been a standard in my house and will always get airplay every year. Just absolutely phenomenal. Snow Angels from the band Over the Rhine. A tight 44 minutes, 12 songs. Fantastic album. Highly, highly, highly recommended.
I should check
How
that
is
out.
Rhine spelled?
Rhine. So like the Rhine River.
Okay.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
Check that out. All right.
Please
Oh,
report back.
I definitely
Let
will.
let the class know how you found it.
I, and I definitely will. I definitely will. All
Great.
right. As I set my sights on Mr. Pete and frickin' Cottontail. That costume,
Okay.
I swear to God. All right. Ken.
For this one, I'm going to hop back to 1996. Um, this reflects a lot of my higher education with 2 degrees in classical music and working with choruses and choirs and orchestras. This is one of the several Christmas albums by the choir of King's College at Cambridge.
Mm.
And it's the one called Christmas Music from Kings. Um, the choir was originally founded by King Henry VI, so the tradition goes way back. And one thing that I love about these mostly Renaissance carols, there are 22 of them, is that in this style, they use pre-adolescent boys to sing the high parts. So
Okay.
these report, and it's an authentic representation of of what they do at Cambridge for this group. This is the group that actually sings in the chapel services. And just as the tradition, they didn't have women back in the day, and so they used the boys to sing the high parts. It really does give um, a whole different sense and feeling to the songs. And there are King's College albums that are more current as far as the content. Then they still use the same format, all men and boys.
Mhm.
But this actually using the Renaissance carols, there's a level of authenticity that is
What he
just,
said.
yeah, what he said is practically just unmatched. And so, like I said, my appreciation for this style of music and Christmas music in particular, because I spent 8 years of undergraduate in graduate school, conducting and or singing this kind of music. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm sticking with the old man music here. So Christmas Music from Kings, 1996, by the choir of King's College at Cambridge.
I'm gonna guess that in your performing days you did not take the soprano parts.
No, I didn't.
Okay. No.
No. No.
I think he hurt
I,
himself
I
by
was
doing
first
that.
bass
Oh my God.
or baritone, whatever you want to call it. But yeah.
Okay. All right.
First base. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Nudge, nudge. Say no
Wink,
more.
wink. Okay, I get you. But we're gonna
I
go past that.
A
Okay. We're
wink
gonna
is good as a nod to a blind bat. Yeah.
Okay. No, interesting choice. Good choice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my pick for the 10th day, or day 3, as Jim put it,
however you count it, yeah.
however you count it, and again, however many eggnogs you've had up until this point. I'm gonna go in a bit of a different angle here. I'm picking A Very Special Christmas featuring various artists. This is a series of albums that came out. The Very Special Christmas 1 was released October 12th, 1987, through A&M Records, produced by Jimmy Iovine, and the proceeds from these albums went to benefit the Special Olympics. Now, there are 15 tracks on this album. I had it on vinyl when it came out. I really didn't pay much attention to it, but for this list and for these episodes, I took a listen to it. It's a good album. I mean, you have such artists as the Pointer Sisters, Eurythmics, Whitney Houston doing a fantastic version of Do You Hear What I Hear? Her voice on this track, the production is just stellar. It's just
Yeah.
amazing. You have, I'll go up a couple of tracks here. You have the Pointer Sisters doing Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Eurythmics doing Winter Wonderland. Again, Whitney Houston, Do You Hear What I Hear? You have Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, I believe, doing a track called Merry Christmas Baby. The Pretenders doing a beautiful, heartfelt, soulful version of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
Yep.
I've always loved this version of it. It brings me to tears.
It's beautiful. I agree.
It's
Highlight.
emotive, it's emotional, it's just there, you know. Having said that, there's a flip side to the coin. There are 15 tracks on this album. It does end with Stevie Nicks doing a version of Silent Night. Fine. If there's one caveat that I would add to this album is that it's 4 tracks too long. Okay.
Which 4?
There are songs on here. I mean, I'll go again just through the list quickly. Sting does a beautiful version of Gabriel's Message. His vocals, the layering of his vocals, the harmonizing of his vocals, the like double or triple tracking of his vocals, flawless, amazing, beautifully done, spectacular. What doesn't work for me is Run DMC doing Christmas in Hollis. Okay. Rap music in Christmas, no. Okay. A
Tell us how
corny,
you really feel.
no. Okay. A corny version of John Cougar Mellencamp doing I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. Okay. Bon Jovi doing a live version of a track called Backdoor Santa. Enough said. And on the second run of pressings for this album, that song was replaced with another track from the band. Bryan Adams doing a track called Run, Rudolph, Run. No, it doesn't work. I think if you had brought this album down to 11 songs, it would have been perfect. Or even a dozen would have been perfect. But the songs, the good songs outweigh the corny stuff. on this album. Okay.
Yep.
Madonna even does a good version of Santa Baby, you know, done in a kind of like 1920s flappers kind of a think of Betty Boop singing Santa Baby,
Yeah.
that kind of version, right? That kind of vocal delivery. Um, it's a good album. There have been many volumes of this series released. I think there are like 9 volumes to it. I did
Wow.
see up to volume 7, but I just got the original. Um, I, I mean, Bob Seger does a good version of the Little Drummer Boy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So, when I hear this album, certain songs like Winter Wonderland from the Eurythmics, even though it's a program drum pattern that they use, her Annie Lennox's vocals on this are
Oh
just
yeah.
stellar, stellar. And again, the album to me is the cornerstone of the album for me is the Pretenders, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. I'm sorry, it makes me cry when I hear it. It does. It gets me emotional, but it is what it is. So
So
go
since
ahead.
it's a Christmas album, would the Run DMC song be considered unwrap?
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't just show at 9 o'clock, folks. It gets a little blue. All right,
Just a little.
with the cigar.
Well, while you're talking about that album, I do want to recommend one of the other songs on there that you didn't mention that I think is a standout. It's a song by Alison Moyet,
Moye, track 14.
Coventry Carol.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
That's
yeah, no, I should have mentioned that.
yeah,
Beautiful.
the background of that song I just learned a couple of years ago
Oh, yeah.
was about, okay, Ken, you're gonna have to help me out here. Um, when Christ was born, there was a declaration by the king at the time, help me
Herod.
out,
Mhm.
Herod, who basically said, "Go and kill all the male children who have been born recently."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Coventry Carol is basically a song of mourning
That's
about
right.
all the children who were killed, during that purge, shall we say.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
very,
It's
very
yeah,
touching.
it's one of my favorite Christmas songs.
Yeah.
It's just beyond most
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
her, and I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that because it's just it's the 14th track on the album of the 15 tracks. So her vocal, stellar, just
Yeah.
flawless. And I
Yeah.
think she should be talked about more as a vocalist. I think she's just, I mean, everyone remembers her from being in Yaz with Vince Clarke, who was in Depeche Mode and went on to form Erasure with Andy Bell. But you know what? Her vocal delivery on this and her 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 as a vocalist, sorry, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. It's just
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful.
In the
And
80s, Alison Moyet was pretty darn untouchable
yeah,
Yeah.
in terms of just being a powerhouse singer. Wow.
please, she did a solo. The chandelier fell. I swear to God. I mean, and yes, I did take that from Luther Vandross about Whitney Houston. The same thing can be applied for Alison Moyet.
Yeah.
But the album is good. I do feel that the album is top heavy as opposed to the second half of the album. I do feel that if they just shorten this down to like even like a dozen tracks or 10 or a dozen tracks, it would be flawless. That having been said, this album went on to sell 250 million copies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did something right. You know what I mean?
It was very much of its time, but it's
Yes.
it's a good like Christmas nostalgia record for dudes in our certain age
Yeah,
range.
dudes in
So
our certain age. Okay, yeah, okay. I get it. No, it's true. It's true. But I remember I would hear the Pretenders, have yourself a merry little Christmas, and I would just like tear up. I'd sit there,
yeah,
I'd just be crying my eyes out
Yeah.
because it's such a soulful and just a heart-wrenching delivery and an emotional vocal on that track.
Yeah. And
it-
she's
it's
not camping it up. I mean,
no,
Chrissy Hind is just solid.
no, and if you know Chrissy Hind, she doesn't do anything that she doesn't want to do. You can't make her
That's
do
true.
anything that she
Yeah.
doesn't want to do. So the fact that she is delivering a beautiful, emotional, heartfelt vocal, that's worth its weight in platinum in my book.
Yep.
But I'm biased when it comes to that track. But I just think it's a I like the sentiment behind the album, and I like the fact that it did raise money for the Special Olympics. I just feel that they should have just trimmed it down a little bit. I mean, run Rudolph, run. Oof. Backdoor Santa. No. I mean, no, it's like no, it ain't that kind of a
Yep.
show, ladies and gentlemen. But we're not going to go there. So,
That's
but
the 1 a.m. show.
yeah, exactly. Say, stick around, guys. It gets really blue at that point. All right. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our pick for the 10th day or day 3, depending on how the eggnog is hitting you, 12 albums of Christmas. Again, please put down the comments down there down below what you feel is your favorite Christmas themed album or Christmas album. Doesn't matter what genre. I mean, to me, Christmas is universal and it doesn't matter. I mean, a beautiful song is a beautiful song. And if you like it, you like it. There's no justification for it, no judgment, and no justification needed at all. So just let us know down in the comments below. I want to thank Peter Frickin' Cottontail, otherwise known as Ken, and Mr. Santa Claus, otherwise known as Jim, for joining myself, Armando, the lonely elf on the shelf. And we will be back for the 9th day or day 4 of our 12 albums of Christmas. Have a good night. Bye for now.